You're listening to the Spaceship Earth podcast with me, Dan Burgess. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. This is one of those episodes, if you've listened to some of my episodes before, which is there's no guests. It's actually another experiment. I'm actually walking and recording this, and I'm walking by the River Dart, which is in Devon, which, if you're not from England, if you're not from these parts, is in south west England. And the River Dart is, well, it's just an extraordinary river. I mean, I would call it, for me, my favourite river in the world. Not that I've been to all the rivers in the world. Probably not even, I don't know, like hardly any of them, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure if I had, the Dart would still be up there. That's my favourite river. I can't really describe it. There's something very magical about the River Dart, something very profoundly deep and enchanting and curious and special. Yeah. So I've been very lucky. I've finished up by the River Dart. I've been down in Devon for 48 hours. And in that time, I have spent a night on the moor, on Dartmoor, which is this vast expanse of moorland, in my van, which is very isolated and wet and misty. I spent half a day down by the sea, in the sea, surfing for a couple of hours yesterday morning. It was very cold, and I haven't been surfing for about 3 months, and it showed. I was pretty awful, but I had an amazing workout, did a lot of paddling, and it was great just to be in the ocean, you know. I was just a little bit fearful, a bit fierce, and I do get the fear sometimes when you've got like big sets coming in and that. Not that they were that big yesterday, but the odd one was, I don't know, a little bit of fear, a bit of anxiety. And I came out of the ocean and I sat in a van, drank some tea, fell asleep, had a bit of a weep, felt quite emotional. Actually, this was the sort of a thing I wanted to talk a little bit about connecting with the land, connecting with the natural world, connecting with the non-human world, and how that makes me feel, and its medicine quality. Yeah, and then I headed up to see my great friend Mark Sears, who lives by the River Dart in a place called Staverton, and spent the night there. And we went, we crossed the river, rolled up our shorts, because I had shorts. I didn't roll up my shorts, I rolled up something, and then we headed across the river. He took me across this crossing point, which apparently was always a crossing point before any bridges were built there for folks on foot. So I'm walking through some bracken, ferns. I've diverted from the river. I'm on my way back actually to pick up my boy. Sorry, I've just lost my thread. So yes, I saw Mark by the river, and we spent the night by the River Dart with a fire and some friends, and had some good conversations in a very starlit, cold night. With the moon made an appearance, and the river flowed, and there was something about the river, finishing by the river, starting on the moor, into the sea, beaten about by the waves, and then finishing up by the river, and this in constant flow of the beautiful Dart. And I'll post a couple of pictures I just took. I just had a swim actually, and it was a great journey, and it was an interesting journey. I've been very stressed out the last few weeks. I've been doing too much, and I know when I'm doing too much because I can feel it. I've become very good at sensing my own body and where it's at, and too many projects, too much head work, quite a lot of pressure, trying to be present for my children and my wonderful wife and friends and family, and you know, it's tough, right? Being dragged, sort of, you know, trying to navigate your way through modern industrial growth society life. I'm calling it industrial growth society. I've been talking a lot about industrial growth society, IGS, and how absurd it seems that we're still believing in it as a model for the globe. That's a whole nother podcast. I'm not going to get into that, I don't think. So no, I came down to Devon. I dropped my son off on this. He's just started a 5-month course called Wolfpack, run by an organisation called Wildwise, with whom I myself have been on a learning development course over the last few years. Well, 5-6 years ago now, called Call of the Wild. More about that later. And actually, the man behind that, Chris Salisbury, who in fact I've just done a podcast interview with this morning. That's going to come soon down the line. But so my son is taking part in this thing called Wolfpack, which is basically teenage boys kind of transitioning to the next phase of their lives, boys to men. And it's a 5-month, several weekends over a 5-month period, where a bunch of teenage boys live in community and in the outdoors and go on various adventures and challenge themselves and hopefully discover stuff about themselves. That's the idea. And I just dropped Finn off this last 2 days, and then that's why I've spent a couple of days out trying to what's the word? Defrazzle myself, reconnect myself, ground myself in nature, which I know that I need, and I need to be doing it regularly, and it's not always possible. I mean, you can do it every day, but to have a real sense of solitude, it's important for me. And the journey that I've been on in the last couple of days, I feel now lighter. I don't have lots of anxiety in my head, which I did when I came down. The moor and the ocean and the river have all gifted me some extraordinary energies and experience, and I've had, I've been in relationship in some way with all of these great living things, and I feel very grateful for that. And I just feel like I don't understand why, as a society, as a culture, as a global human race, we're not slowing the fuck down and doing more of this. We're on this crazy trajectory. It feels to me that everyone's just like, it's just relentless. Where is everyone going? What is it that we're growing our economies for? I don't understand anymore. It feels like insanity. I told you this was going to be a ramble. I was just chatting with Chris Salisbury on this, recording a podcast with him to come, as I said. And he said, Dan, we just need to fall in love with the natural world. It's that simple. We just need to find the time to do that. And what that brings. And we talked a lot about curiosity and how being in nature just sparks your curiosity. It does all the things that I think I sort of hear in these kind of, business work environments that I find myself in, where teams are trying to be more creative and talking about being more curious and all that stuff, and actually just get outside. If we just go outside more, I know it feels oversimplified, but there is so much intelligence here, and wisdom, and stimulation and possibility. So why aren't we doing it? I've been thinking a lot about this idea of going back. It seems to me that we're so obsessed with progress and moving forward, and that all of the wisdom and intelligence in our ancestry and in indigenous cultures is somehow, which has been gleaned from thousands and thousands of years of observation and being in relationship with life and community and all this fantastic wisdom. It's there, and for some reason we seem to sort of have painted it as kind of, I don't know, not of our being's intelligence, not at the level of the modern human needs or something, if that makes sense. And yet it's all there. But yet we don't want to go back, because going back means somehow, feels like, it's like lowering the bar. It's not of a sufficient modern quality. It's not technologically advanced enough. I don't know. And last night by the River Dart with Mark and some friends, we finished our session around a fire, and we, the guys we were with talked about this little simple ritual of finding a stick and holding that stick, and maybe, trying to sort of let some of your anxieties or, thoughts or issues or things that aren't serving you very well right now, just put them into that stick, and then to release that stick into the river and let go of those thoughts or those things. And that's how we finished the night around the fire. We picked some sticks. I think we called it the anxiety stick, or something like that. But you could call it anything. You could call it the letting go stick. And spent a couple of minutes in silence, just processing some things into that stick. And then, I actually hurled my stick into the river. But you could just, you could lob it, you could gently release it, but release it into the river, and off it goes. And this whole letting go, we've talked about that a lot, haven't we? I think in previous episodes, the art of letting go. The River Dart knows how to let go. It's an expert at letting go. I noticed that. And I am interested in being better at letting go of stuff. I've let go of some of the things that I was carrying down here, some of the anxiety, some of the stresses that actually are ridiculous. They don't mean anything. And I need to let go of them, and I have. Through spending some time in the natural world. It's medicine, and we need this medicine. I don't usually like saying we because it implies some sort of ideological nonsense, but I do genuinely believe that all humans are inherently designed to connect with the more than human world. We're programmed to respond to it. Our whole sort of operating system needs the connection with the natural world. It's like, getting a kind of like the latest, upgrade on your operating system. And I've got that in the last couple of days from the Dart and from the Atlantic and from the Moor. And, it feels strange that it's things that we're supposed to only do when we're on holiday or when we've got the time, or, can you imagine this being integrating these practices? What do I mean by that? So that they become just normal life. It's normal not to run around like a lunatic. Can we imagine a time when we're not running around like idiots, just chasing stuff, demands, timelines? For what? For what? Where are we going? Do we need all of these things? Can you hear the Dart? It's a lovely kind of racing, rapidy bit I'm just walking past. Anyway, I just wanted to log that, really. Love, coming back to love. How do we fall in love again? Talked a lot with Chris about that. I've talked a lot recently and heard a lot about love. When I was in Turkey last week, I went to a talk at a conference in Istanbul called Sustainable Brands. And actually, my talk ended up talking quite a lot about love, because I've got to the point now where I don't really know what to say apart from what I really feel. So what I feel now is what I tend to say when people ask me to do talks, because I'm trusting more my heart and working more from my heart and trusting that. And at least if it's not that you want everyone to agree with you, and it doesn't matter. I'm not asking people to agree with me, but if I can give a talk and it's from my heart, then I know I've given a talk that was a talk that meant something. It was authentic to me, at least, because I meant it. And so I'm finding it hard to talk about a lot of stuff, because I do see a lot of trouble in the world right now. I do feel that an awakening from the heart could be hugely interesting if we worked more from that place. What might happen in business, in culture, in politics, in community. If we work more from that place, what could happen? Anyway, in Istanbul, I did a talk, and I've done a talk about love and being in a relationship with life, and being a participant in the world, and a crew member of the Spaceship Earth. And what I found was, as I heard in a couple of other talks, more talk of love and more heart. And I heard the word courage a lot. A lot of people are talking about courage, how important courage is right now. Courage is very interesting, because the origin of the word is kur, which means heart. So to be courageous is, in fact, to work from the heart. And that's interesting. And creativity, in fact, is, in many ways, a courageous act. It's a heartfelt act. And I'm interested in that. I'm interested why courage is popping up now in lots of narratives as a call on courageous leadership and courageous beings and being courageous. And if we look at that word, yes, it means to work from the heart. So, love. That is where it's at, I think. Talking of which, I'm going to have to go and pick up my son. Talking of love, my son, this boy I love so much. I'm really excited. I'm a bit nervous, actually, because I don't know how he's been for the last couple of days. He's been out camping out for 3 days, and it's been cold at night, and he's with a group of boys he's never met, and who knows? But hopefully he has he's had an experience. Well, he'll definitely had an experience, and hopefully it's been an experience which has made him feel alive. I'll let you know how it goes. So there's a few podcasts to come. I hope this ramble may be useful. It was more just for me to sense check, get some stuff out. It's important. But it's important to take time out. It's important to connect with the natural world. It's important to pause and slow down and just maybe look around us and notice all this extraordinary life and how amazing it is that we have this around us, and how might we bring more of it into our daily lives. Thanks for listening to the Spaceship Earth podcast. Take it easy out there. Remember, there are no passengers on Spaceship Earth. We're all crew. Until next time, peace and out.